I never thought my world would crumble just 10 days into my marriage. 10 days. That's all it took for everything I believed in to shatter like cheap glass. We met during the pandemic, like many couples who found connection in isolation. She worked as a bartender, and I was a freelance graphic designer. From our first virtual date to our long conversations about life, psychology, and personal growth, we seemed perfect together. We talked about everything, our dreams, our fears, our past mistakes. We promised absolute honesty, even about the smallest things. Our relationship wasn't just romantic, we became best friends. We watched countless documentaries about relationships, communication, and personal development. Sometimes these discussions turned heated, but we always learned something. She started acknowledging her tendency to be stubborn, to believe she was always right. I appreciated her willingness to grow. We had this unspoken agreement about transparency. Our phones were open books to each other. No secrets, no hidden apps, no mysterious messages. That was our pact. Everything changed after our wedding. We had this beautiful ceremony, nothing extravagant but deeply meaningful. Our honeymoon was magical. We explored a small coastal town, laughed endlessly, and felt like we were living in our own perfect bubble. But bubbles burst. It started subtly. After returning home and she went back to work, something felt different. Her energy was off. She seemed distant, almost nervous. Those first few nights after our return, she'd come home later than usual. Her body language changed, more guarded, less open. One night, she came home around 3 a.m. Normally, she'd climb into bed and cuddle close. This time was different. She went straight to the shower, which was unusual. When she finally came to bed, she wore more clothing than typical and positioned herself at the edge, creating a physical and emotional distance I'd never experienced with her before. The bed slightly trembled. At first, I thought she was cold, but then I realized she was crying. Softly, trying to hide it. "Are you okay?" I asked, switching on the light. Her response was a mere nod, her face turned away. Something was terribly wrong, and my intuition screamed that this wasn't just a random emotional moment. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a revelation that would destroy everything we had built together. Days passed, and the tension grew. I knew something was brewing beneath the surface. My wife had always been passionate about her work at the bar, but lately her shifts felt different. Her stories became shorter, her explanations more guarded. Then came the social media incident. A friend messaged me about a video she'd posted. When I confronted her, she became defensive immediately. She claimed it was just a video of our dogs, but I knew better. It was a dance video posted right after our wedding, something she'd hidden from me. Her apology felt forced, like she was cornered, not genuinely sorry. I could sense the lie in her words, the disconnect between her actions and her promises of total honesty. The night everything fell apart started like any other. She came home late from her bartending shift, moving differently. Her body language screamed guilt. When she thought I was asleep, I could hear her holding back sobs. The bed shook slightly with her suppressed crying. I turned on the light. "What's wrong?" I asked. She broke down, but her story didn't add up from the start. She claimed a friend offered her a ride when her car wouldn't start. Then she said he forced himself on her. But something felt off. Her hesitation, her reluctance to involve the police, the way she avoided details, all of it raised red flags. When I demanded to see her phone, part of our original agreement of total transparency, she became defensive. Not scared, not upset, angry. She accused me of not trusting her, completely flipping the narrative. I knew then something was seriously wrong. My mind raced. Was she trying to hide something? The friend she mentioned, the ride, the late night, everything felt like a carefully constructed lie. I pushed harder. "Tell me everything," I demanded. That's when her story completely unraveled. Her response would change everything I thought I knew about our relationship. Her mask completely fell off that night. When I demanded the truth, she finally admitted everything. Not with remorse, but with a shocking arrogance that made my blood run cold. "Fine," she snapped, "I did sleep with him. And he was better than you'll ever be." Those words hit like a physical blow. The woman I had married, the person I thought I knew inside and out, had transformed into someone completely unrecognizable. Her ego had consumed her, making her believe she was above consequences, above loyalty, above our promises. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just started packing her things. Trash bags, suitcases, anything I could find. Her belongings scattered on the sidewalk, a physical representation of our shattered marriage. She begged. She pleaded. But her pleas rang hollow after her confession. The trust we had built over years crumbled in moments. Our pandemic-forged connection, our deep conversations about growth and communication, our promises of honesty, all of it meant nothing. In the weeks that followed, I started documenting my experience. Not out of revenge, but as a way to process my pain. I created content about relationship dynamics, about trust, about personal accountability. Surprisingly, my channel gained traction. People resonated with my raw, honest storytelling. Months later, she started reaching out. Constant messages. Desperate pleas. "You're the one I'm meant to be with," she would say. But the words rang empty. The trust was irreparably broken. I realized something fundamental about relationships during this journey. Trust isn't just a word. It's a continuous investment. It's daily work. It's choosing your partner, choosing integrity, even when easier paths tempt you. My story wasn't just about betrayal. It was about understanding what true partnership means, about recognizing that love requires more than just feelings. It demands respect, honesty, and unwavering commitment. And some promises, once broken, can never be fully mended. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button to help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.